Dear students, today we are going to study a new story, A Horse and Two Gods, written by R.K. Narayan. Let's know the plot and the setting of the story. The fictional town of Malgudi is often depicted in R.K. Narayan's novels as the quite essential rural town of India. Somehow, this story does not include the glorious town of Malgudi and is instead based in the tiny village of Kridam. In the very beginning of the story itself, the reader gets quickly acquainted to the village which is struck by poverty and hardship. The story is a factual portrayal of the average lifestyle in India with its ancient societal systems like the caste system which corrupts the mind of the people. Let us go to the summary of the story. The short story of A Horse and Two Goats has a rustic plotline which revolves around the central character of Muni. He lives in the small village of Kridam with his wife and is quite obedient to her. Their house is one of the 30 old houses present in the village and it is made out of easily available and basic housing materials like bamboo, thatch, and mud. Since it is the typical idyllic village of India, fundamental necessities like running water and electricity are not available for use, and the wife of Muni has to do all the extra chores by herself, which makes her grumpy most of the time. In the very start of the story, we see Muni waking up one morning with an urgency to eat something more delectable than the usual meal of raw onion and little balls of cooked millet. So he goes to collect a few drumsticks from a nearby tree, which he gives to his wife so that she can put the vegetable in a pot of curry. The wife readily agrees to complete this task, but only if he could fetch the other ingredients like rice, dal, oil, and spices. The family had become so poor that such basic groceries were also not available in their kitchen. However, in the past, they were better off and even considered themselves affluent. Muni used to be in possession of a large flock which consisted of 40 sheep and goats. He dearly cared for his flock and would take them out to graze every day. That was a time of content and prosperity for Muni, but it was now long gone. Calamities like repeated droughts and a year of great famine starved his animals and depleted his stock of granary. In addition to these calamities, the remaining animals also suffered from a bad epidemic resulting in complete catastrophe. Since Muni belonged to a low caste among the members of the village, he was not allowed to go to school with the kids of other caste. Lack of education had made him dependent only on his animals. He knew no other skills or trade and had thus been reduced to such a mere livelihood. The destitute couple didn't even have any offspring to depend upon in the future when they would grow older and have nobody to look after them. Mostly, they get by through taking odd jobs here and there, and so the family income is perpetually non existent. Muni's wife sometimes earns a bit of money through extra work at the big house where the only rich and affluent family of the village live. Their situation is so bad that Muni had to take credit from every store of the village, and now all the shopkeepers simply refuse to give him any credit and send him away with insults. As the story unfolds, we sympathize with Muni and his circumstances but also understand his wife's frustration with him. Their actions and behavior are mainly driven by hunger and want. When Muni's wife realizes that there is no more food in the house, she sends her husband away to fast with the gods till evening, as if to punish him and make him repent upon their present crisis. The hapless Muni obediently took his gods to graze at his regular grassy patch a few miles off the highway. This spot had become quite a favorite for him because it had a huge clay statue of a horse and a warrior, and he would spend idle time there just relaxing while the gods grazed. Looking at the passing vehicles on the highway was an enjoyable pastime for many. As the old man sat gazing at the crowd, waiting for the right time to head back home, a yellow station wagon appears on the road and makes a stop in front of him. A strange looking foreigner peeks out of the wagon and asks him where the nearest gas station is. Muni is stunned by the appearance of this white man and he wishes to run away from the spot because he assumes the foreigner to be a policeman or soldier come to assault him. The reason for such an assumption was the American's khaki colored uniform. However, Muni was too tired and old to move away from the place in a hurry, and moreover, he couldn't leave his last two gods alone next to the highway. The two people, who were now feeling awkward in the presence of each other, began to have a fragmented conversation. Obviously, the communication was not effective at all, as neither of them understood each other's dialect, but they waved their hands a lot to express what they were trying to say. The American could utter only one Indian word, which was Namaste, and Muni replied to him by saying only yes or no, which were the only two words he knew in English. If observed from a third person perspective, the scene would appear quite comic to the observer. The American points and shows great interest in the statue of the clay horse. As the two men light a cigarette between them while conversing about it, Muni tells the foreigner about the history of the statue and what the symbol represents in Indian heritage. The American does not understand much what Muni says but becomes utterly mesmerized by it and decides to buy the statue to take it back home. Following this decision, the dim-witted American pays a full 100 rupees to Muni and believes that he was just bought the statue of the horse from him. Muni, from his point of view, believes that the white gentleman has bought his gods from him. His happiness knew no bounds as he realized that the money he has just come into possession is 20 times more than what he owes as credit to the shopkeepers. He rushes back home to relate this wonderful incident to his wife, but his wife fails to believe him and is not convinced regarding the story of the gods. She thinks he has obtained the money through some illegal means and starts shouting at him when the gods find their way back home. Hence, it was not a very happy ending for Muni after all. Let's revise the story. Reminding you the importance of reading the story from the textbook.